Monty is a weekly columnist in technology for both the Telegraph and Forbes. You have to stand up, Monty.
Yes, sure.
Occasionally writing for The Economist.
Yes.
So I think it's fair to say you know a lot about technology.
It's not about me, it's about the panel.
Exactly,
You know
which
what I mean?
you'll bring on. And then an interesting fact about Monty, I love this. In case you didn't know, he was a Bollywood film villain in 2009. You've been in a couple of Bollywood movies.
I was a Russian drug dealer in the second one, incinerated and burnt to death. And in the first one, I'm a 30s villain that pistol whips women. And I'm very good at that.
Very bad Bollywood villain. So can you do your best Bollywood villain laugh? All right. And then I also asked you about your most interesting interview, and you said it was a fellow named Jason Bossman, an African entrepreneur. He's now doing mobile network in Ghana, but he's formerly of NYS from New York City and did some very interesting stuff on the streets. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
Okay.
And then his parents took him to Ghana to get out of the city, and then he started doing strange things from Sierra Leone to Ghana, and now he's the CEO of a mobile advertising company.
That's great. Gotta love the African entrepreneurs.
Absolutely, always.
Right, okay. Over to the panel and to crafting brands for life.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'd just like to introduce the panel, and then they'll give a 2-minute kind of roundup on who they are. Gentlemen, please. And the panel's moved around a little bit in the last 24 hours.
We sit down?
Yes. But what we do have, probably for the first time in history, of two men with the same first name, Amerigo, on the panel.
C.
Oh, Americo, sorry. So we'll start with
Americo, yes.
Number 1 or number 2? Are you all right with that?
Okay.
And your man Mark from Fiat Chrysler at the end. So if you give us 2 minutes on each other, then we'll get it kicked off.
Okay, thank you. My name is Americo Lenza. I head up global consumer innovation at Vodafone Group. We are looking to find and bring to market new leading-edge consumer innovation through our zone go-to-market identity. I guess I don't need to introduce Vodafone. We're the largest mobile network operator in the world, operating mainly across Europe, Asia, Africa, etc.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm Eric Silva. He's from Italy. I am from Portugal. But we are both American, which is a global.
This is strange. I've never met another Enrico.
And I am the head of social and alternative media in Shell. So this is a new job for me. Before that, I used to be the head of media, responsible for all the media planning and buying. So never a dull moment working in social media at Shell. I'm really, really enjoying a lot of things to do. A lot of engagement we need to do with our audiences. And I joined Shell 22 years ago, worked in different countries, different areas, always around marketing and communications.
Thank you. Mark?
And I'm from the United States. Hi, my name is Mark Gerstein. I work for Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, the first 30 years with Chrysler in the United States, and the last year here in the UK as the head of digital.
Thank you very much. That's great. One of the first questions we were going to ask, or get things going on, is that how is it for a couple of brands that are 100 years old? How do they try to reinvent themselves? I mean, Vodafone, feels like my Vodafone contract has been with me for 100 years old and costing me a lot of money, actually. So thank you very much. So we spoke about this, Mark, to begin with. I mean, what do you do when you're 100 years old? How do you, I mean, you have platforms. How do you do it?
Yeah, so we have a couple of brands that are 100 years old. We have Fiat that's been around since 1899. We have the Lancia brand that's been around since the early 1900s. And then we also have Ferrari, Maserati, been around quite a long time. So you have to make that transition and be able to still connect with your customer. Customers still go into car dealerships, still make a purchase, still want to see it, feel it, taste it, drive it. They want to have that feel of the vehicle. But we have to make that connection by moving to digital. And that's one of the reasons I was brought over from the United States, is to make that connection. And we use social media quite a bit. We get customers involved with the vehicles. We just did a video that we posted on YouTube. It had almost 1 million hits to it. Where we had a contest where customers were able to take a test drive on the car at Silverstone. And it's pretty amazing to drive on a Barth on a Silverstone over 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You get a chance to experience that. So what we do is we videotape it, post to social media, and those customers then share it with their friends, and it works fantastic.
But your business is changing, right?
It's changed quite a
You're
bit.
going to be a driverless car, and on the way, you're going to be a connected car. Is
Yes.
that a great opportunity, or not?
Yeah, so there's a huge opportunity in the connected car. Connected cars, right now, you could tell it to change the radio station for you. You could tell it to dial somebody up on the mobile phone. You could virtually do anything you want to do with it, including parking the car and being able to do whatever you want. The next stage will be the driverless car.
Okay, and it's
Sometime
your
in the future.
Jeep Cherokee that can park itself
Yeah,
vertically.
it's correct. You could buy a Jeep Cherokee today at one of your dealerships here in the UK, and as an option on it, they'll either do perpendicular parking or parallel parking. And if you drive like I drive, that would be a good advantage.
But we spoke earlier, both of you, that Shell were trying to put their app as part of your radio system. Is that right? How did that work, and why didn't it work?
Well, so we have a feature on part of our radios. It's called Uconnect, and that's the feature where you can be able to talk with the vehicle, dial a phone. It also gives you other options to add in apps. We worked with Shell a bit. We were exploring possibly adding in the Shell app onto the phone. So we explored that. Shell, actually, you guys have a very great app that comes on the iPhone where people could pay at the pump. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to make that connection or not.
Right.
Something we're looking at.
But you've had a relationship for 60 years, Enrico, you were saying earlier, the two
Yeah,
companies.
we have been together with the Fiat Group through Ferrari for more than 60 years, and more recently we have a very strong relationship in terms of lubricant supply to Fiat Group across all the Fiat brands. So it's one of our biggest clients
Right, okay.
and partners.
So anyway, you've been around for 100 years, is that right? Or is it?
Shell depends a bit on the country, but it will be always more than 100 years.
So you're doing
So-
similar stuff to the Fiat Chrysler guys? What are you doing, apart from your lovely
I
app?
think the first thing that we all realize in Shell is that the world has changed, and we have 100 years, yes. And even if still a significant portion of the world today does not have access to energy, and that is one of our big objectives, is to provide energy to all the world, the reality is that our audiences have changed. The expectations of those audiences also has changed. And we just need to rejuvenate our shelves and think about our audiences, think about what they want from us, rather than telling how big Shell is and the great technology that we have, because not many people is interested on that.
And a two-way street, to excuse the pun, as opposed to a one-way street.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And we were talking about this earlier, about Vodafone, and a lot of companies seem to use social media as a customer care service, which is ridiculous and stupid, in my opinion. So Vodafone's business has changed also from voice and text to data,
Data, yeah.
and not so much the dumb pipe that was going to be, but the dumb pipe that exists now, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
How are you doing social? How are you engaging with your customers? These words are engagement and innovation and digital and a load of bollocks.
There's lots
most of the time.
yeah, so there's lots, as you were saying, about the conversation that social has helped enable. If you look traditionally at the moment, when you look at social and the kind of things that happen over those channels, it's very much a one-way street at the moment, with customers allowing them to express maybe displeasure, maybe positives, something about your service. But actually, at the root of everything, what you're trying to enable is a proper, deep-rooted two-way conversation. And some of the work that my team and myself do is about enabling that conversation, not only to listen, but also actually impact the kind of products and services that we bring to market. You know, we're coming from an organisation not quite as old as these two companies that these two gentlemen work for. In fact, we kind of still call ourselves one of the oldest startups around. We've enabled the explosion in digital, if you look at what's happened in the mobile space. And we want to continue that. You know, we've been responsible for a lot of firsts, if you think about the first phone call, the SMS, etc., and that we want to help continue that. So we want to enable new services that really enrich and help our customers' lives. And the only way you can really find those is by talking to them. And that I fundamentally, I enjoy, as we were talking with my colleague, with my friend Americo, it's strange saying that, is the fundamental shift that I've seen from my own personal experience of enabling those conversations, is people are actually passionate about it.
So what ways are you doing that?
So through starting lab conversations, so we've got a number of various social tools which allow those. Personal invitations for our high-value customers to come and talk to us around our key markets, using Zone as a go-to-market identity to encourage what we call leading-edge consumers. And these are the people that really not only want to use new technology, but also want to help us create new products and services.
Okay.
And I have daily my product team sitting down and having conversations over our social platforms. And for me, that's just an exciting thing that we can only look to grow.
Do you work with connected cars?
We do, actually. We have various teams within Vodafone who are looking at helping to connect cars, from both the embedded solutions to also aftermarket solutions. My team itself is responsible for the aftermarket piece, so cars which don't have embedded technology in them, and I'm sure over the years that's going to come even more if you look at the statistics, but for people who don't have that technology embedded and who are looking to bring these new technologies and connect their cars, we have products and services which will allow that to happen.
Do you have a new car?
Do I have a new car? Not as new as I would like it. When you have
I
three
can take care of that
children,
for you.
yeah, I know. I was just
Talk to
about
me
to
later
say, when you have 3 children, very young children, you're kind of restricted with what cars you can buy. So
I have a 10-year-old Merc, and I love that car because it feels like a car. You know what I mean? It's like I used to drive a motorbike, an old motorbike. So I'm a bit anti-apps in cars, like sat-nav. I think is the devil's work. You know, I need to get lost to find my own way. Mark, give me some examples of apps that within a car that would interest someone like me, a kind of doubter.
So navigation is the main app that most people want, is a way to find themselves. Navigation is getting better and better as new cars come out. If you want to avoid traffic, which occasionally there is traffic in the London area, so you might be able to take advantage of that. Plus it also shows you speed cameras, shows you where the police officers are, which is good because it slows you down and prevents you from getting in trouble.
I thought those things were illegal.
That's the idea behind it. So it's there to benefit you and keep you safe. Other apps are internet radio.
Right.
So you can listen to a radio station of your choice.
Pandora in the US, right?
Yep, in the United States, Pandora is one of the big ones. Spotify is also a big one. So you can have your radio station as opposed to listening to terrestrial radio and having what they want to play. You can play what you want to play. So once again, it's about that user experience and making the car customizable for what you want it to do, as opposed to another cookie cutter kind of vehicle.
And these are voice-activated commands you can use. Everything's voice-activated, I presume, when you're driving. I mean, I've got an old car, so what do I know? You know.
Yeah. So yeah, it interacts with you and it just helps you, makes it easier for you to use the vehicle.
Okay. you got a new car?
Excuse me?
Do you have a new car?
I have a new car. Yes, I do.
What's it like?
So I right now with the Jeep Cherokee, and it has a touch screen in it, so it's able to add the apps as you need to. And they're adding more and more features on, like I said, possibly adding in Shell at some point.
Okay.
We're still discussing that. So there's more opportunities in the future that we're exploring, making sure it's beneficial, mostly from the customer point of view.
Yeah.
It's good for us as a manufacturer to have it, but we always want to have the customers drive what our vehicle is going to have in that.
So to get from A to B, you need to use Americo 2, I suppose. And I know we're going to refer to the driving aspects of your business. I'm sure she'll do a lot of different things. How are you making it easier to drive from place to place? How are you making it easier for your audience? You know, I think we were talking earlier about in the States, you don't go into the shop, you just press beep, beep, beep,
right.
And your app is trying to, solve that problem.
Well, we have the retail network, talking about the drivers, of course. And basically, the first thing is to make those locations very welcoming and really provide a great customer experience offline when you are on the Shell stations, either filling up or going to a shop. So that offline aspect is very, very important to us. Also, of course, taking advantage of technology. So the UK was the first market where we launched the pay at the pump through an app, through a QR code in association with PayPal. So that is now live in the UK. It's going very well. We're very, very happy. And I would say that there will be more things coming on the retail service aspect. That will be the ultimate objective is to help drivers to have a better experience and to be able to also to find us more easily. So having a great location on Google Maps and things like that, which might look quite basic, but sometimes because you have such a scale and such a legacy, those things, you need to do an effort to have those things right.
What else do you do at your stations or your garages to kind of...
Sorry?
What else do you do at your kind of locations to engage your audience?
Well, it's all about making our customers feel very welcome, having the staff welcoming them, having the products and services that they want to have at the station. So trying to understand the different journeys that different consumers will need to do. And we have multiple segments that we know well what are their needs and try to have an offer that matches the needs of those different segments.
Okay. One of the things we were talking about earlier with Mark was about the way that chat networks are coming from all over the place, whether it's WhatsApp or Snapchat, Facebook Messenger. And one of the things that I find quite bizarre, especially when it comes to games companies, is how much they're losing their audiences because they don't have that chat ability to do it. So if you look at Angry Birds and Rovio, there's a huge industry around Angry Birds that Rovio has nothing to do with. So chat networks, Vodafone, you were talking earlier about the way that you're communicating with your team, whether it's on social or whatever. How do you see that working with Vodafone's business? Bearing in mind you've lost business a bit because of the voice. My phone doesn't ring anymore. It's all social for me.
Right.
You know, and then the proliferation of apps that people can get on any device. How does Vodafone counter that? How's your text traffic? Is that still strong?
Still very strong.
Yeah.
We believe in the growth of the rich communication stack, which is we have our own applications called Message Plus and Call Plus, where we've seen that although there's more and more data traffic being enabled, where we see our network enabling that traffic both through our own applications, but as you say, the over-the-top applications. So, it's more of a shift in people's behaviours rather than a fundamental move away from our core services. We believe in these data services can actually help enrich our core services as well. So as
what's Message Plus?
So Message Plus is our own mobile messaging platform, which allows multiple different services to be sent through your SMS platform. So if you think of iMessage, that's very much an Apple-driven one. This is agnostic to the platform.
Okay.
So whether you've got Android or whether you've got Apple.
But you have to be a Vodafone user end to end.
So at the moment, yes, but then it's moving across industry. So it's very much a mobile operators trying to enrich the experience using your core network.
So you're seeing customer behaviour has changed. You're reacting to it. Do you do anything to kind of preempt it or do anything to influence
we've
it?
always been looking at the forefront of that technology. So for technologies to be enabled, we've been thinking about them way in advance. You see that with the advent of the 3G, 4G. It's only through the higher speed networks, and in the future, I'm sure 5G will be coming on as well. It's only through that experience and that research and development and the implementation of those that actually all these other services have been possible.
Yeah, okay.
So, these years take time and the rollout, etc. So it has been thought about.
Anything you can share with us that no one knows?
No, not really. I wouldn't be at liberty to do that.
Mark, we talked about chat networks earlier. What's your take on it? Do you think you should be utilising these networks to keep your audience or bring new people in?
We've used chat a couple different ways. One we talked about earlier today, but we used chat when we launched the Fiat 500X. We had chat within the Xbox platform. So we partnered with Microsoft.
Hang on, Xbox platform. So you designed it on the Xbox platform?
Correct. So we worked with Microsoft in a partnership with them. So we actually had the magician Dynamo create a magic trick to make the Fiat 500X appear. And then as you played through the Xbox game, you were able to earn an avatar. So you were able to work with that and use the chat function to chat with your friends, also connecting with the vehicle. So that was very successful for us, and actually we won an award as well.
So you would do that
we're kind of proud of that.
Around the launch of each each car, each brand? You do that again, you think?
We're looking at it. So we have a new Alfa Romeo coming out later on next year. We might end up doing something like that, but that's more of a premium brand. So we want to make sure we have the right message for the right audience. It's probably not an Xbox audience as the 500X is.
Okay, all right.
But we also use chat in a couple different ways. We use chat on our brand website. So if somebody is a consumer, they want to get information from us, they could chat with us. But when they're also working down the buying funnel and they're ready to talk to a car dealership about a specific vehicle, we have chat on there also. So instead of either ringing the dealership up or walking in, they could start a chat session and ask about, do you have a Fiat 500X with automatic, petrol engine?
Yeah, okay.
And it helps that buyer make a decision, and do they want to engage and do business with that retailer?
I'm still confused about the Xbox platform. So you designed the in-car platform based on...
It was using the existing Xbox technology.
Oh, I see, all right.
Correct, and we just tapped into that, so they have the headsets when they're playing games, so they could also chat about the vehicle.
Wow. Americo too. You use games or anything, gamification for your products?
We have done some experiments, but I would say we are not there. We have done recently something with Ferrari on providing an experience, kind of 360 video. That was quite nice. I'm sure you have seen that. It was very, very successful. But in terms of mass consumer, I would say we are not there yet. And while you struggle to get people to the dealership because you know when they are there, they are going to buy the car, or they are on the internet signing. In our case, we have 25 million consumers every day going through the 46,000 retail stations all around the world. So you see the scale of that is just enormous. It's the double of McDonald's in terms of number of retail stations, just for you to get a bit of the scale of our business,
absolutely.
The retail business. So we are not there yet in terms of chat. Of course, we recognize it is very important, and consumers demand that. So I do anticipate some effort on that area in the future.
I think it's a bit of a challenge because I don't really care where I get my petrol gas from. I don't care. I mean, I probably will drive it until the last minute because I think that there's a low level of oil in every car that's not being used, so I run out of petrol quite a lot. How do you kind of, I mean, are people loyal to Shell and they use Shell instead of BP or anything? Does it work like that?
Like in any other business, you have different segments. And you are part of a segment that is not loyal to the petrol stations. But there are segments of people that are very, very loyal.
They really do.
Yes.
They would
would
go 4 miles to go to Shell and not go. I suppose because of loyalty cards.
There are.
Stuff.
There are. And they value the difference of our fuels and of our lubricants. There are. But of course, you are right in the sense that the level of perceived commoditization and the segment that you belong is quite a big segment. So, and a very valuable segment at the same time. So we need to make additional efforts to bring you in by providing superior customer service and by understanding what will trigger your loyalty in the future and acting on those moments.
Presumably it would be money, right? You know.
Pricing is, yes, very, very important. And it's not by chance that pricing at the pump is very, very competitive. And you see the pricing dynamics at the retail station are amazing in terms of understanding the competition, understanding how to leverage the best possible pricing.
And people won't be stopping as much as they used to if this app and card of yours becomes really successful. It will be straight to the pump and out again like a Grand Prix car. So that must have some challenges as well.
There are some challenges. I would say location is still the key driver.
Right, okay.
And then pricing is, of course, very important. And the quality of our products and the brand, the experience that we provide. These are the three components. And of course, then you have all the digital elements when you are running out of fuel and you are searching in an area that you don't know, and you are searching. You want to have Shell as the company that appears first and provide you the right help that you need to arrive there safely.
Well, at least you don't have to get a 2-year contract every time you go to a Shell station. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe they're missing a trick.
Absolutely.
But if I may, it's just
Please do. Yeah.
because actually, when you talk about the connected car experience, we see it as not just experience within the car, because actually that's one part of the connected car experience. Actually, if you look at the type of products that we've launched ourselves, it very much extends that experience outside of the car to help you plan a lot more. So it actually presents you the data when you're actually not even sat in the car, because your car, you can communicate with it from outside. So that's type of thing in helping you plan, you know, because you should be able to see that actually you're running low on fuel. So the bit of where do I need to go to, actually you can help plan that in advance, so you know before you actually get in the car that you're going to need fuel. And that's certainly something that I value, seeing as my wife always runs out of petrol and it leaves me to fill it up at the last minute. But they're the kind of experiences that we think that really the connected car can enable as well.
So your acquisition, your user acquisition or your user retention, what type of things are you doing to keep people like me that's had a contract for 15 years and can't really be asked to move? You know,
so clearly, competitive pricing and a competitive product, much the same as what Amelie was saying around with Shell and great customer care. But actually, we see that also the advent of new products and services to help make your life simpler will help you stay loyal to the brand. So we just launched our wallet proposition here in the UK, which allows you contactless payment around where it's possible, points of sales. And other such products and services that help you, both in the connected devices space, so we believe IoT is also a big growth area, the Internet of Things, such as connected car, such as other connected services around you, and hopefully all of those work in unison to help make your life easier and help you, encourage you to stay with Vodafone, not only as a brand, but also as a service.
The three of you are all quite connected in a weird type of way, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? All around the car and the hardware. We've got about 3 or 4 minutes left. Are there any questions in the audience for the panel about anything at all? This lady at the back. I think it's a lady.
I got a question on the Xbox launch of the Fiat 500X. Isn't Xbox audience rather younger than anyone as of driving age?
You have to repeat the question. I just heard about the
Is
Fiat
the Xbox audience younger than?
Yeah, it's a good point. So the Fiat 500X audience skews lower in general than the overall Fiat line. The Fiat 500 itself is a very young buyer. It's between 18 and 30, basically. The Fiat 500X is a little bit older, so that's about from 25 to 35. And when we started looking at the demographics of the Xbox users, it's a lot of people in the room will probably admit this, or may not admit it, but there are quite a few older people playing the Xbox. So it does skew a little bit higher than what we had thought. But it was very successful for us. Something we might consider again, depending on the vehicle.
Thanks.
So is that okay for you? Anybody else have a question? Gentleman at the front.
Hi, you've all spoken about how bringing
You just introduce yourself.
Oh,
sorry.
sorry. Ollie, I work for Barclays. You've all talked about bringing the customer in and sort of giving them the experience that they want and they need. How important is working with startups like the guys downstairs in helping you to achieve that experience?
Great question.
So that's actually one of the roles that I take, is actually engaging with startups and new technology companies to see how we can really bring those not only through from a good idea, but actually something which is commercially viable, but also more importantly what the customer wants. And I think sometimes when you approach large corporates, as I've spoken to many small companies, it becomes a bit of well, where the hell do we go and talk to these people? So actually that's what the role that I've been, my team do, is give you a view and a channel into the large corporate environment. And vice versa, it works that actually by working with such companies as startups, it actually helps bring that innovation and the way of working into a large corporate environment as well. So it's a kind of two-way traffic there.
Very good.
Thank you for your question. We have a big area in Shell called Shell Technology Ventures that works with startups let's say in a very big scale. And we also have other programs like the Shell LiveWire, Shell Ideas 360, where we try to identify new bright energy ideas really at the startup level. So, for example, we have 2 years ago, we have launched a company called PaveGen, which is basically around kinetic energy. And they are now in the market doing business with us, doing business themselves. And that is just an example of a project that we help to finance. Other is also Gravity Light, which is generating energy through gravity, which is also a startup that won an award with us last year. So we have these continuous programs for many years now, where we help and try to discover these new talents to help to solve the energy challenge that we face in the planet.
Absolutely. Probably got time for one more question. No, we don't. Okay, sorry, Bindi. I'd like to thank my panel for some great insights. Hope the audience got some takeaways. Thank you very much indeed. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.